Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramona and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with Our Servant's Heart podcast. And I'm going to say doing the IRS. I'll explain why I'm saying that later. With a servant's heart, which is very crazy, but true. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. We believe when we approach our work and our lives, both of them, with a servant's heart, we can truly make a difference. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. While you listen to my incredible guests, as I always say, get your pad and paper out because she's going to give you some great ideas what you're going to do after the election. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. It's going to be great. I want you to think about how you're going to serve today. The key word is today. Let's not wait till tomorrow, next month, next year. Do it today, and what impact do you create today? So bring the service with the impact, and you're going to be a game changer in your life. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of an exclusive community of high-income, successful business owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries. We together are building a thought leader platform to impact and change the world, combining our networks to grow. For more information, reach out to me and I'll get you information on the Pantheon Alliance. With that being said, my guest is a former IRS agent. Oh, but I love her. Fell in love within 30 seconds because she's former and she's got all that experience to help us. So I want to welcome to the show, Dr. Sherry. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve, for having me on.
Well, I'm fired up. This is going to be so good. I want to start with this. How the heck do I escape the rat race?
You have to keep, protect, and grow what you earn. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in the rat race.
Let's talk about those three components. Keep, protect, and what's the third one?
And grow.
Grow. I always forget to grow. I don't know. Talk about all three of those.
I created a system called the KPG system. I went through a lot. I won't get a lot into my story, but there was a time when I had a CPA firm and I was making six figures plus. And I had employees and all that. And some things happened, which people can look up if they want to. But I ended up at rock bottom, Steve, and really starting to dig. So I had to sit back and figure out how I need to get back to the top. There was no way that I was going to stay down in the rat race. So I created this KPG system. First of all, keeping what you earn, and then protecting it, and then making it grow. So keeping what you earn involves basically decreasing or eliminating your debt, decreasing or eliminating taxes, increasing your income, and then making sure that you know how to really build wealth. The things that you've learned over the past 20, 30, 40, even 50 years, that the gurus tell you that you see on television, they haven't worked for most people. And I am very, very unconventional when it comes to making sure that you keep, protect, and grow what you earn, especially those that want to leave a legacy for their children and their children's children.
Yeah, legacy's big. We forget about that because we're struggling in the rat race. I'll bring that right back. What is your experience with the IRS helped you with all this?
When I started, I was an internal revenue agent, and I worked the way up through the ranks as an internal revenue agent. I quit that job after 7.5 years. And it wasn't because I had another job, and it wasn't because necessarily I was going to start a large CPA firm or anything like that. It was just a family thing. I was a Christian back then and still is. And I wanted to take care of my family. But as I grew up in rank within the IRS, then it started demanding more of my time. I started, as opposed to just auditing mom and pop businesses, I started auditing partnerships and corporations, and they would have, instead of me talking to mom and pop directly, they would have these CPAs and attorneys, trying to intimidate you. And I was a CPA then, so they didn't intimidate me, but we're slamming each other's fists down on the table. No, no, no. And I'm saying, yes, yes, yes. And you get home and you're a mother and you have two small children looking at you and they're hungry. And all you have the energy to do is make them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I just said, that's not how this is supposed to be. So I actually quit. They thought, oh, where are you going to work? You got another job? No, I actually quit the job. And I didn't do anything but take care of my family for a year. And then, of course, money needs started. And that's when I started the CPA firm. Steve, that's when people started to come to me and talk to me about the income tax being misrepresented and misapplied to the American people. They wouldn't talk to me when I was an IRS agent because they were scared to death. So I started doing research and then, started talking to people about the fact that they needed to keep their earnings. And there's a long story behind that, but I had to learn how to keep, protect, and grow from the bottom, rock bottom, all the way back up to six figures.
Yeah, what an incredible story. Congratulations. And inspiring for you people listening. Doesn't matter what you do. You could be a CPA, you could be a plumber. Anybody can pull their bootstraps up, and especially with family. By the way, I like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but not every day. So I'm with you there, all over it. So this just came to my head. Are IRS agents really that evil that we put them out to be?
Some of them are. And I think that they set out to find people that really don't have another life and that are angry or bitter or just mean. They set out because when I had my first interview, it was actually one interview and I was hired on the spot. I had a cold when I went in and I was talking very softly because if I talked louder, I would cough. So near the conclusion of the interview, one of the guys said, well, I don't know if this job is for you because you're too soft-spoken. And I wanted the job. So I said some things very loud to him to let him know that that's not my normal nature. So I got the job. But yeah, they look for people that are on the edge, or people they used to anyway. They used to look for people that weren't afraid to go out and intimidate.
Yeah. Finances are a very emotional industry. It's your money. It's like real estate. You buy $1 million home. That's the biggest purchase you'll make. You got $1 million. I give it to you. It's like, and I've done it. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. Mm-hmm. How do you handle mindset with your clients and getting past that fear?
The biggest issue that I have with clients is mindset. And it's because, Steve, we have been taught wrong, and we've been taught wrong intentionally. All the way from there's no such thing but death and taxes to money doesn't grow on trees, and all those things that we've been taught that have been ingrained inside of us have to be broken through, because there are ways to get wealthy. But they don't teach them. There are ways to avoid taxes, but they don't teach them. So getting through to let people know that what you learned, you need to erase it all of it, and start from scratch is the hardest thing that I have to do.
That is powerful. And that's what you did. So your experience has taught you all this.
Yes, my experience taught me that. I knew that before. I have a very pragmatic dad, and he said, when you're 18, you're getting out. So you better find some kind of career. And so, I became, even back when I was younger, a strategic thinker. So, and a critical thinker. So I think one of the things we need to do is bring back critical thinking, because the television, with what I call the electronic income reducer and the electronic intellect reducer, is taking all that away. And it's meant to be that you don't think for yourself. So if you don't think for yourself, you're never going to learn how to get out of the rat race, or, progress in any kind of way, thrive, as a matter of fact.
I love those phrases about television. You gotta pat. No, those are beautiful. Yeah. Just well said. I've talked to a lot of people. I've never heard that. I want to jump in about, we talked before the show in the green room about the elections coming up and Fury and the DNC's this week. It's August 21st, 2024. You got something to share with us to really protect us and help us, right?
Yeah, see, I wish that people would realize that to go above the clouds and look at what's going on. I don't vote, and people are offended by that, especially as a Black woman. Our ancestors, they fought for the right to vote, but they didn't fight for the right to vote and do, based on what we have right now. We have two parties in there, the Democrats and the Republicans. I don't vote, Steve, because changing the players without changing the game is an act in futility, in my opinion. And over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years, nothing has changed for us in the middle class as far as us being able to thrive. They act like there's a difference in front of us, but I happen to know, they're backslapping each other behind the scenes and going to parties together and all that. It's not working for us. We have to understand how to get out of this box. I don't even know what the box is anymore because I'm so unconventional. But the things that I teach people, they aren't complicated, but they're different from what the mainstream media and the powers that be want you to know. So yes, we have an election coming up. History shows that after an election, things take a downturn. I have mentors from afar, and I have mentors that I know face to face. And all of them are saying, get ready for something worse than 2008. Regardless of what, it's like almost they're talking about the perfect storm. They're talking about, be ready for another pandemic. And I do call it a pandemic because it was planned. Be ready for another downturn, not in the residential market this time, but in the commercial market. The commercial paper is messed up, and the small to medium-sized banks and credit unions that loaned money for commercial property, those people are foreclosing like crazy. I've done the research. So it's going to domino at some point or another. And our people, we're the ones that are supposed to be in the know and helping other people.
Yeah. What do we do? How do we prepare ourselves for this potential 2008 reoccurrence?
First of all, between now and whenever it occurs, you need to start making sure that you're not tethered to any large debt. Do the best you can to pay off mortgages and be in a position basically to save. I have a little thing called the stair step to wealth, and it starts out at the bottom with insurance, making sure that you have insurance on yourself, on your home, on your car, and all those things, which is basic and a lot of times considered mandatory. But the next step up is called assurance. And for me, as opposed to saving $1,000, like some people might tell you, or saving 3 months of expenses, I tell people to save 6 months of expenses. I talked to a young man the other day, and he said, I finally saved $1,000. And I asked him how much he made, and he lives at home, and his car note is all he has. I said, well, what happens to all the other money that you've made? Why is it that you just saved $1,000? And he kind of grinned, and he said, I've been doing foolish things with the money. So discipline is the key, saving 6 months of expenses. So when things happen, then at least you have 6 months of your rent or mortgage and your utilities and car notes and insurances already, so you can figure out what to do if you haven't already made your plan B, which is another thing that I teach people. Have a plan B.
Yeah. Accountability sounds like a big part of this with advisors. You can teach me all I want. If I don't take action, how do you handle that working with clients and accountability?
I stay on, I don't want to say it that way, but I stay on my clients. If
Yeah.
they disappear for more than a week, I'm calling. What are you doing? What are you supposed to be doing? Our assignment last week was this. So they appreciate the fact that I stay on them. I don't just let them go, off yonder and fall off the cliff. They can't fall off the cliff because, Steve, I produce results. And if I let you fall off the cliff, then you're not a result. You're not going to be able to say, well, Sherry helped me build this business, or she took us through this audit and the IRS owed us money, which is what happened. So I can't let you fall off the cliff. So I'm on my people. Those that follow me for 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Those are the 3 different levels that I have. And my year-long clients, they are just ecstatic. I have great reviews and testimonies because I stay on them. I don't let you just go astray.
Yeah, Servant Heart does that. An audience, she's not saying stay on them, like yelling at them, hey, you haven't called me. It's just the follow through, the follow up. I love that because I think, I'm going to say this and I'll probably get slapped. Financial advisors tend to take on too many clients where they don't have a system for what you just said.
Yes.
I'm blessed. I have one to just follow up with her, my advisor, Monday. we did a quick follow-up, and it's such a blessing because, again, it's going back to the emotion.
Yeah.
If you don't know what I'm thinking, how are you going to help me?
Right.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yes.
I'm seeing something. You have something called how to stick it to the IRS. Confessions from a former insider, church wealth, ministry health, 5 pillars. Oh, that's a different book. So, how to stick it to the IRS. Confessions from a former insider. Talk to me. I'm now curious.
Okay, Steve. Some people know my story. I have a following, and I'm considered a subversive, and I'm considered infamous because the government did not like the fact that I was telling people that the income tax was being misrepresented and misapplied to the American people. There's a film producer named Aaron Russo. Aaron Russo made Trading Places with Bette Midler and The Rose with Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and The Rose with Bette Midler. He flew several of us out to Hollywood because he did a documentary called America: From Freedom to Fascism. This documentary had, at least 3 former IRS agents. I think there were 4 former FBI agents, some historians. I don't know if you've heard of Ed Griffin that wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island. And we were all explaining, hey, they're stealing our money. And the government got mad and they started to persecute and prosecute some of us. I was one of the ones that didn't have the best representation, and I was actually imprisoned on a misdemeanor charge. So I came out, and my mentor said, you're writing a book called How to Stick It to the IRS? You got the balls to do that? And I said, they stuck it to me. I'm sticking it to them. So it's basically telling people from the inside how they operate, and especially how they audit you. And I think part of that book shows business owners how they can deduct just about everything but the kitchen sink.
Okay, I didn't expect this story to go that direction. I'm very happy it did, to tell you the truth. But so, what's the talk about how to escape the rat race? Your book, again, 4 keys to acquire the life of your dreams.
So I go through in detail different ways that when I got out and was at rock bottom and, had lost everything, how I got back to 6 figures. And I had to get out of debt. I had some debt, and I got out of debt by making sure that I wasn't frivolous with my money. I never was, but I was very careful with how I spent the money. I finally found out some other ways to get out of debt that included some things that people were telling me. See, I had a big following. I had A-list actors, Steve, paid my mortgage while I was in prison because they knew that I was telling the truth. I still have people to this day that send me money, and I still have people that give me intel. So that following is really, people that were loyal and say, I appreciate you for standing up for our rights. I had to, utilize all my mental skills to make sure that I stayed on track. I got, a business going, and then started using that money to not go out and buy new cars and televisions and things, but reinvest so that my income would start to grow. And then I got a mentor, and that was the biggest thing. So when I met my mentor, I had a job and a half. I was working a full-time job, and I had a part-time job. He found me on Facebook. This is a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire. And he asked me, was I still speaking? Because he had heard some of the speeches that I had out online when I was talking about the IRS. And everybody hates the IRS. He hated them, and he wanted to talk to me. Long story short, he taught me how I could make 6 figures within a year. And I paid for his services, and it was September, October, and by December of the next year, I was at 6 figures. I had 2 books. Those 2 books, How to Stick It to the IRS and How to Escape the Rat Race. I was doing speaking engagements all over the country, and I was bringing in 6 figures, and I haven't looked back since then. So I learned how to get out of debt. To of course, I already knew how to reduce the taxes because I used to do taxes, and I used to be the deduction queen. But I learned how to create multiple streams of income. You can't depend on one, especially with an economy like we have. You got to have something else going on. People with a job right now, Steve, are scared to death of these pink slips. People that are making 6 figures in these corporate jobs, if you notice that places like Walmart and UPS and all these places are laying off thousands of people, and they need to know that they need to start something now, because if they get the pink slip and if they have something up and running, that might tide them over until they find another job, or they may just scale that up and continue on with their own business and forget about it. I know several people that said that they were laid off and it was the best thing that have ever happened. One woman was making about 150 to 200K, and they laid her off, and her business is up over 500,000 now.
Oh, wow. That's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you mentioned multiple streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
I followed that for 10 years with Warren Buffett, one of the
Mm-hmm.
richest guys in the world. And that's what he preaches
Right.
probably daily. I love this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get a guest on here that you just met before your show,
Mm-hmm.
and really you fall in business love. Like, this is my kind of person. I appreciate that. We got a little bit of time left. What's
Mm-hmm.
a piece of advice on two things? One, how people do their taxes and talk to their CPA. And
Mm-hmm.
two, what's a great question to ask your advisor to make sure you're up and running right?
I hate to say this, but a lot of CPAs and advisors are afraid. They're afraid of the IRS. They're afraid of getting audited. And I've had clients come to me and say, hey, I had a lot more deductions than are on this return, but my CPA said to hold them back just in case I get audited. And I was appalled. It's like, why would you not take all of your deductions just being afraid of an audit? So you need to find somebody that's not afraid of the IRS. You need to find somebody that's not afraid of an audit and that is going to advise you correctly. For example, we're coming up on a time where most CPAs should be getting with their clients to see what their books look like. So if your client made extra money, or if it looks like they're going to owe based on their profit and loss statement, then strategies need to be put in place right now. Because if not, they're going to be giving that money over to the IRS, which I call the insidious representatives of Satan. And they will not have that money. They might as well spend it on something that's going to be helpful for their company. That's why at the end of the year, especially in December, you hear these loud advertisements for cars and trucks and stuff, because people will go out and buy a fleet of trucks before they'll give that money to the IRS. But if you don't know, you're going to get caught, and it's too late in January to say, oh, you made an extra $150,000 this year, Steve. We're going to have to report that. No, I should be able to tell you in October, Steve, you got an extra $150,000. You need to figure out how you're going to spend it. So as opposed to it going, would you rather it go to the IRS, or would you rather it go to something that you need in the business? Maybe you need to hire on a couple of more people at the end of the year to do some things. A lot of my clients, they'll hire their relatives, instead of them begging for money. Hey, you can work over here and do something. So there are a lot of ways to spend that money for your business and have a business deduction for it instead of giving it over.
So proactive. That's missing in the financial industry. Wow. You're blowing me away. Well, we're getting to the end here. I got a fun question for you.
Okay.
Now I can see your energy. I kind of can know how you're going to answer this, I'm guessing. So we've got a table of 4 reserved at a restaurant. You do. Of course, you're going to sit in one of the chairs. In the other 3 chairs, dead or alive, who would you invite? Why? And more importantly, what food would you order?
Okay, so the people that I would invite to the 3 other people, that would be my Lord Jesus. That would be one,
Amen.
of course.
Amen.
And another person that I would invite would be my mentor, which is Dr. Myron Golden. And one other person that I'd invite probably would be Dr. David Jeremiah.
What a group.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So I love asking a question. I learned it's so cool. What would we eat, or what would you eat?
I like seafood. So I like salmon and those kinds of things. So salmon with some asparagus, those kinds of things. I'm a sweet person. Unfortunately, I like too much cake, cookie, and pie, and ice cream. So I love carrot cake and key lime pie.
I love your directness. It's so refreshing. How can people get the books, support you, reach out to you, find you?
So I have a website, and it's sherrypeeljackson.com. You can get the books, and I have some little mini courses on there. But I also have the Escape the Rat Race Challenge. And for your listeners, we have a special, escapetheratracechallenge.com/special, and they'll be able to get $200 off of this challenge. I stick with you for 3 days, answering your questions and teaching all of the detailed concepts of the Keep, Protect, Grow system. And also talking about a plan B, Steve, because I have property here in the States and I also have property in Costa Rica. I have 3 pieces of property in Costa Rica. That's my plan B.
Nice. I just figured out KPG. I'm a little slow podcast host sometimes. Keep, protect, and grow. Remember that. KP, keep, protect, and grow. It's super simple. Finances are not simple. You just made it simple.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you so much. I support you 100%. Keep rocking and rolling, doing what you're doing.
Thank you for having me on, Steve.
Oh, you bet. Don't forget my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Do me a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel. She's incredible. When you subscribe, you have access to her anytime, 24/7, or any of my 470 or more guests that I have. It's powerful. There's no cost to you to subscribe. So take action, subscribe, and learn more about these great stories. Boy, I'm still blown away by your story. We'll talk later after the show.
Okay.
And as always, me and Dr. Sherry, thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.